Is your credit score stuck in the basement? Like you've tried everything, but your credit score is not going up? You want to listen to this conversation because you're going to learn a lot and you're going to find out how to actually turn things around. Don't go anywhere. You're going to love today's conversation. I guarantee it. Welcome back, folks, to another section of the Awesome Studio Kiwi Show. How are you today? I hope you are doing fantastic. I'm doing marvelous. If you were to ask me, if you are doing as great as I am, go grab a cup of coffee or tea or vodka and let's roll. In today's conversation, I want to talk to you about why your credit score is not going up. I have the top 10 reasons why your FICO score is stuck in the basement. You have to understand that your credit score is a critical factor when it comes to credit cards, loans, any kind of obligations, even insurance, okay? And you have a diversity of factors that affect your credit score. It's not just a number. The number is a result of several things. A history of missed payments or on-time payments, your credit mix, your CUR, so on and so forth. So the number one reason your FICO score is stuck in the basement, a high CUR. Did you hear that? High CUR. I want you to write it down. High CUR. Do you currently have a high CUR on your credit? CUR stands for credit utilization ratio. So when you have revolving credit accounts such as lines of credit or credit cards, lenders want to see that you handle them responsibly. That's the key word here, responsibility. And you don't seem to rely too heavily on credit to meet day-to-day obligations. Do you currently have enough cash coming in from work or side gigs to take care of your obligations? Or do you have to rely on credit to sort of take care of, to actually scrape by? High utilization of credit, which means you are currently using a large amount of the credit available to you, makes you seem like a risk. Your risk profile will go up, okay? So, and this can lower your credit score. In fact, credit utilization accounts for 30% of your credit score. Write it down, 30%. That's a big number. That's pretty close to 1/3 of your credit score, okay? So to keep that in perspective, your payment history, whether you pay your bills on time, accounts for 35%. So these two factors together have the majority impact on your score. So you need to pay attention to both, okay? So using 30% or more of your available credit at any given time puts you in high utilization territory. What I'm trying to say is you want to keep your CUR below 30%. 35% maximum, that's kind of cool, all right? So let me give you an example. Credit card A has a limit of $10,000 and a balance of $6,000. Credit card B has a limit of $2,000 and a balance of $0. There's no charge on that. Credit card C has a limit of $1,800 and a balance of $1,600. So your total available credit in this hypothetical scenario is what? $13,800. Your total credit use is $7,600. So your credit utilization ratio in this fictional example is 55%. That's just high, very high. Reason number 2, you have negative items on your report. There's nothing you can do about it, okay? Let me ask you a question though. Does your credit history include a negative item right now or a series of negative items? Is everything cool with your finances at the moment? Talk to me about money. Money, because at the end of the day, we are talking here about credit score, but your liquidity situation has a big impact on your credit score, okay? So if everything is cool with your finance at the moment and your credit score is not going up, it's just because you got to take care of those derogatory items on your history, on your credit history. Do you have collections? Do you have charge-offs? Do you have issues that are going on? The thing here is that you can do it yourself. It's not really that complicated. You just need to correspond with the credit bureaus, with Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. If you don't have the knack for writing dispute letters, then you want to outsource the whole thing to third parties. There are companies that specialize in this kind of work. They're called credit repair agencies. You can have them for profit or non-profit also, okay? But this is important, and you got to take care of those negative items. If those negative items are valid, they're going to stay there. But if they're not valid, let's say you were a victim of identity theft or something else went on your balance sheet or whatever, then that can be taken care of, okay? If it's invalid, if it's unauthorized, you can take it off. Reason number 3, no diversification. Yeah, your credit history is not diversified enough. Big decision time. Let me talk to you. I want you to talk to me right now. Is your credit history diversified? In other words, what is your credit mix? Do you have credit cards, loans? Do you have auto loans? Do you have personal loans? Do you have mortgages? You got to have diversity here. And your credit score takes that into account. It's very important. So credit mix, or whether or not you have multiple types of accounts on your report, makes up another 10% of your credit report. That's kind of high too. You might be thinking, well, compare it to 35% or 30%, 10% is not really that much. Well, guess what? Everything adds up. So you got to take care of those little tiny things, those are the little tiny factors as well. Okay. So credit mix it's important. The types of credit include installment accounts, such as car loans, home mortgages, student loans, and personal loans. We have revolving accounts, including all types of credit cards, home equity lines of credit, and gas cards, and open accounts such as those with utility or natural gas companies. Okay, those are things you need to think about. Reason number 4, you have too much new credit. Talk to me. Do you have a trigger finger for credit apps? Do you just apply? I mean, the funny thing is, some people just go around and just applying for credit cards like they just buying ice cream. Think about it. You got to be strategic here. It's not about just like, oh, I've seen this card and they have a soft pull, or I'm going to apply because I'm not getting a hard pull anyway. Well, I know, but why even bother if the credit card is not really interesting, or you already have a lot of credit cards? If you have too much new credit, this can have a big impact on your credit score. Credit card. Now, this is not just about credit card, right? You might have other credit. When we speak about credit, we're speaking about all kinds of credit. Okay, so this is important. Hard inquiries are those that are backed by a credit app or other consent from you that intimates that you are looking for credit. Remember, for a hard inquiry to happen, you need to consent. You need to approve it. Okay. Soft inquiries also are kind of that they require your consent, but the hard inquiry goes on your credit report. They will reduce your credit score. So you need to have the lender or the credit card issuer needs to have consent. So the big question is, and I'm talking to you right now, I want you to tell me the truth. Why are you applying for new accounts too often? What's going on in your life? Are you in a cash crunch? Is your balance sheet sort of like a lethargic? There's nothing coming in? Are you struggling to get by? What's going on? Honestly, you don't have to apply for credit cards more than 4 times a year. You don't have to apply for new accounts all the time. Be strategic, my friend. Be strategic. All right, I want you to write that down. It's all about strategy in terms of getting credit. You got to be strategic. So, because the thing here is that when you apply for new credit, the bank or the lender pulls your credit file, resulting in what's known as a hard credit check. And based on research, a hard credit check can actually reduce your credit score by, let's say, 10 points or 15 points. But imagine if you have, let's say, 10 hard pulls in the year. That's a lot of ding to your credit score, right? I mean, even if you go by the one hard inquiry equals 10 points, that's 100 points just off your credit report because you're just looking for credit. Be strategic, all right? Reason number 5, account closing. So your credit score is just stuck in the basement because you are closing accounts too often. First of all, why are you even closing accounts? That's the big question. I'm just being honest with you. Why are you closing accounts? Just let it sit there. Is it bothering you because you have an account that you opened 10 years ago on your credit score, on your credit report? Is it bothering you? Is it preventing you from sleeping at night? No, just leave it there. History plays an important role in your credit report. Okay, so if you recently closed an account, this can have a detrimental effect on your credit score. The thing here is that, and I want you to picture this. Bear with me. A long history of responsible money management is great for your credit score, and the age of your accounts does play a role. All right, let me give you an example. If you are 40 years old and you've had a credit card with a small credit line since you were in college, the credit card has a history that is 20 years old. Think about that. That's awesome. Even if you're not using it and you now have better credit cards in your wallet, you may want to keep the old account open simply for its age. This is especially true if all of your other accounts are new. This is very, very important. So the next time you're just looking around and just thinking, oh, wow, I have those accounts that have been sitting there for 30 years or 20 years. Well, guess what? If they're not bothering you, if there is nothing going on with them, keep them. And another thing I want to say here is that the age of the account is very important. That's for sure. But you also have to think about CUR. Remember, credit utilization ratio. In other words, if you have old accounts that you're not using, the money is there. Let's say you have a you have a credit card that you have been using for 10 years, but that card has $10,000 limit. When you add this $10,000 to all your other credit cards, the limits on those cards, that makes the credit available to you bigger, right? So your CUR will go down because the CUR, the formula is you take the open accounts, the accounts with open amounts, and you divide that by the total available credit. So if the denominator of that fraction is high, the result will be, everything else kept constant, the result will be lower, right? Imagine you divide 1,000 by 10,000, that's 10%. But if you divide 500 by 10,000, or if you divide 1,000 by 20,000, the result is 5%. So your CUR goes from 10% to 5%. That's just fantastic. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another section of the Awesome Studio Kiwi Show. We are still having a conversation today about why your credit score is not going up. I want to address this issue. I want you to listen, because I don't want you to be frustrated that your credit score is just stuck in the basement and you're just like, wow, I've tried everything. I've done everything I possibly could think of, and my credit score is just sitting there at 500 or 600 or 700. Well, reason number 6, errors. If your credit report has errors, guess what? Those errors, especially if they are detrimental to your credit score, they will ding your credit score. Big decision time. How often do you check your credit report? I want you to talk to me right now. Be honest here. Be honest. How often do you check your credit report? I mean, are you those people who are just like, you know what? I'm going to check this once a year. It's okay anyway. Or when I apply for a new credit, they will tell me anyway. No. You better check your credit report as constantly as possible. As a matter of fact, experts have said that you want to check your credit report, let's say every month. It doesn't hurt. It just takes 5 minutes. 5 minutes. And there are several ways to check the credit report for free. We've covered this on other shows. You can check it. You can check it on Credit Karma. You can check it on Nerd Wallet. You can check it on Wallet Hub. You can check it on annualcreditreport.com once a year. You can check it with your credit report, with your credit card issuer. We have CreditWise from a Capital One. We have Discover that has that service. Also, you have American Express. You have a constellation of credit card issuers that actually provide that service. So my point to you is, right now, you need to check your credit report often to make sure you can spot any errors and fix them. Number 7, identity theft. If you're the victim of identity theft or fraud, your credit score will go down. This is why I was just telling you earlier, and this harks back to my earlier comment about making sure that you check your credit report constantly or permanently. I'm not asking you to check it every day, but check it as often as possible so that you can spot things like errors and identity theft. Okay. And one thing that's very important here is that you are responsible for a charge. If you're not, take care of it ASAP and contact the Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax and have a conversation with them. Be very careful though. You want to document everything and you want to really substantiate everything. and you want to keep a paper trail of every conversation you have with those credit bureaus. Number 8, missed payments. Yeah, you've missed one or more payments. Money, money, money. Are you currently struggling to get by? Let's go back to the whole money conversation, right? That's just what it is. The thing here is that even though late payments only count against your credit score when they are 30 years or more past due, you still have to be careful here. What I'm trying to tell you here is that don't get into a routine where you feel comfortable that, every now and then I can miss payments and everything is fine. No, if you miss a payment by a week, you may have to pay a late fee, but it will not impact your credit score. But it's all about discipline. It's all about financial discipline. It's all about making sure that you have a routine of on-time payments. This is what's going to constitute a good habit in the long run, right? So you don't allow this to happen once. You want to take care of there are a lot of ways you can do this. You can actually set reminders in your phone. You can have a budget. You can have ways to actually automate the whole credit card payment thing every month, so you don't have to do things manually. Okay. Reason number 9 why your credit score is not going up: your account age. If your account are not old enough, well, your credit score will be actually sitting in the basement for a while. There's nothing you can do about that, right? Credit cards, loans. The thing here is that this happens if you are young, you just got out of college, or you just got your first job, you're 20, you're 18, 21, whatever it is. Those things, there's nothing you can do about it. Credit bureaus use the average age of your credit accounts as a scoring criterion, and older accounts are better for your score. If you have one or more accounts that you have opened within the past year, then those accounts may need to get a bit older for your credit scores to go up. Okay, this issue is peculiarly common with consumers who open lots of different cards. So what I'm trying to say here is that even if you are, let's say you are in your 30s or 40s, but you just happen to open credit cards or to have new credit cards or new loans all the time, those credit accounts will be young compared to the rest of your credit accounts. So it's very important to understand that you want to make sure you don't open credit accounts too often, so you can let the old credit accounts mature, right? It's all about allowing the chronological process to take place so that you can see as a result, you can see the consequence on your credit score. Reason number 10. This is a little counterintuitive, but it is true. If you have an excellent score, this is going to be complicated. If you already have an excellent credit score, let's say you are in 800, 810, how high can you go? That's the question, right? How high can you go? Because the higher your credit score gets, the harder it is to keep increasing it. Let's say when your score is in the 500s or 600s, well, that's kind of easy. You can increase it by not doing anything wrong, right? If you just pay your bills on time, you don't open new credit accounts too often, you're good to go. You go from 500 to 600, that's easy. 600 to 700, that's easy. 700 to 800, that's relatively easy. From 800 to 850, now we're talking about a real strategy. Pay your bills on time. Don't use too much of your available credit. Your score will steadily rise. That's what we all have been told in Credit School 101, right? But what do you do when you are at 800? Well, at this point, this is where you think about it as advanced credit course. This is where you have to think about liquidity. You have to think about your financial statements. You have to think about your balance sheet. You have to think about it requires a lot of strategy. In other words, do you want to pay off all your accounts? Because usually folks who have an excellent credit score are usually responsible in terms of their their finances, and research has shown that they happen to be also financially secure. In other words, they have a lot of money. They can pay off their balances. They don't carry balances from one month to another, and they don't have a history of missed payments. So at that stage, what you want to do is you have to think about whether or not you want to keep open account, like outstanding outstanding amounts on credit cards or loans. If you have a mortgage, should you just pay it off? How important it is. Like if you have an 800 or 825, is your APR on a credit card really going to change? Is it going to change that much? Or the interest rate that you are going to be charged on a loan, is it going to change that much? Those are more philosophical questions, because when you get to that level, it's no longer like a day-to-day sort of credit score management issue here. It becomes philosophical. So if you have an excellent credit score, you might find it difficult to go even higher. All right, folks, this is it for today's conversation. I was having a quick convo with you about why your credit score is not going up. I've given you top 10 reasons your credit score might be stuck in the basement. Number 1, you have a high CUR, credit utilization ratio. Number 2, you have negative items. You got to take care of those. Number 3, no diversification. Number 4, too much new credit. Number 5, account closing. Number 6, errors. Number 7, identity theft. Number 8, missed payments. Number 9, account age. And number 10, excellent credit score. I'll talk to you another time, but until then, remember, stay marvelous.